Hello, my digital friends. My name is Sean Black, and welcome to In the Black. I'm often asked about commercial real estate from people looking to get into the business, and what I try to explain is that it doesn't matter where you start, but what you need to find and develop in order to succeed in the industry is really a personal edge. So for me growing up, I was super fascinated with really two things: the psychology of decision making and the built environment. This led me to completing a 4-year degree in psychology in order to understand the mechanics of human behavior, and a 20-year career, essentially a 20-year career in commercial real estate to understand buildings. As long as I can remember, I was always in awe of office buildings. But for me, it was less about the obvious fascinations like the architectural extravagance, the imposing height, and the engineering precision of a tall building. I was mostly intrigued by what people were actually doing inside the buildings. And that's how psychology and real estate were really combined for me. What was particularly profound for me was that someone could go into an office tower, go into an elevator, sit behind a desk, and earn a salary. I mean, what were these people doing? So essentially, I was terribly fascinated with the context of behavioral psychology and decision making, as well as this built environment and how that environment affected decision making. As I got a little older, I was introduced to the inner workings of the commercial real estate business by my uncle in Canada, in Toronto. While I was in college, I spent all of my summers working at my uncle's commercial real estate firm. So while I was there, not only did I come to better understand how people were using office buildings, but that companies were paying a significant amount of annual rent to be in that space. And those figures were fairly mind-blowing for me at the time. That's when I really began to appreciate how the built environment and the costs associated with it needed to be really well aligned during the process of the acquisition of the property, and the construction and build out and the eventual occupancy, in order to be well aligned with the let's say the strategic objectives of the company that was occupying, or the user that was occupying the space. So essentially my aha was that, let's say, 4 sticks and a roof could somehow help to better enable the most efficient, the most productive, and the most profitable way of achieving a company's strategic intent as it relates to executing their business. And there was a cost associated with using the space that these companies were willing to pay for. It was this idea of using space as an enabler of the business, that got me really juiced and excited in my early career. And then it was understanding the decision-making process that was required in determining the right footprint, the right location, along with those bundle of rights and the obligations that accompany the eventual occupancy of space by the user. It was this concept of real estate being an enabler was super fascinating. I also realized that to some extent, it's this decision-making process that can be the hardest to grapple with, that can be the hardest for people to get their arms around. So the question in my early career that I continually searched to answer was, what were the best methodologies to help companies arrive at the right decision for their particularly unique needs? Because every organization has very unique needs, even though they might be in the same industry, they might be producing a very similar product or a very similar service. They're all very unique in their personal needs. So what's the right process in marrying the right real estate solution to those needs? And that's the aspect of the business that I became committed to learning about after my first year in the business. And I quickly realized that if I can help improve that decision-making process while becoming an effective advocate and really strong negotiator, I decided that that would be my edge that I would carry into and throughout my career. In business, whether it's real estate, technology, sports, media, everyone needs a personal edge. And you just have to commit the time and be disciplined to discover what that edge is that you're going to master and share with the world in order to really set yourself apart and to be able to achieve extraordinary things.